with this.
I'm happy to be here. It should be fun.
Yeah, so you approached us and you made us feel really bad about the impact of NFTs and sustainability in that regard. So what's your message? What should I be doing differently? What should I be mindful of?
Well, I try and use positive messaging. Negative messaging on the topic of climate doesn't seem to work much.
Sure.
Yes, we've surpassed 1.5 degrees. Yes, weather is getting worse. Yes, it's a problem for all of us as humans and for most animals, and we're losing biodiversity and all those things. But there's lots of things that we can do that are positive. There are lots of ways that we can preserve forests, we can plant forests, we can preserve habitat for animals, and we can preserve habitat for ants.
There we go.
Even if they're rebels, we can still preserve their habitat. Ants are critical to the ecosystems. They do all kinds of great things, and we can have fun doing it. So we create NFT collections that are based around animals, NFT collections that are fun and whimsical.
Yes, I'm listening.
That's okay. We also help attach carbon offsets, which support various forestry projects around the world, to any NFT collection. And we find fun, positive ways to engage a community in addressing climate change and making it fun and making it interesting. Another thing that we do a lot of is help measure the carbon impact. So one of our products is we can measure the carbon impact of a company, of an individual, of a collection, of an NFT, and we can help you to offset that. And we also tokenize pledges to reduce your carbon emissions.
And how do you offset it? Like, what is the process there?
So the process for offsetting, there's a few ways to offset, or there's a few ways that you can deal with your carbon footprint as an individual. You can choose to stop traveling, stop eating, all these other things, or more like, in all seriousness, that some of the things that you can do as an individual to reduce your carbon footprint are eat less red meat, turn down the heat, turn up the air conditioning.
Turn up the air conditioning.
Yeah, to a higher temperature, so you're using less air conditioning. Turn down.
You don't
the
mean
heat.
like the fan, like a stronger fan. You're saying like raise the temperature.
Raise the setting on the thermostat. You know, less air conditioning, less heat, less red meat. You can travel less. You can turn off the lights. All of those are pretty simple things to do. But what might surprise you is one of the most important things that you can do is understand where your money is. What's your money doing when you're sleeping? Are you banking with a sustainable bank? Or are you banking with JP Morgan Chase? Is your money therefore financing the fossil fuel industry? All of those things are things that you can think about. But here's the message. The most important thing that you can do to address climate change is vote.
Vote.
Vote, vote, vote.
I like it.
Vote with the products you buy. Look for sustainable products. Vote with your investment portfolio. Where does your money sleep at night? And vote at the ballot box for people who are addressing climate change.
Yeah, I love that. That sounds easy.
Vote, vote, vote.
Voting
Everything
is
else
mostly free.
There's lots of fun, easy things you can do.
Yeah.
And you can make Rebel Ants more sustainable and include sustainability in the brand value that the Rebel Ants community embraces.
Now, we had told you that we've partnered with One Tree Planted.
Yep.
And you
Great
said...
organization.
Yeah, but you said $1 doesn't really plant a tree. So what more should we be doing? Should we be donating $20 per ant? Like, how does that work?
So
what should I do?
Carbon offsetting and tree planting must be a secondary commitment.
I see.
We need to all commit to reducing our emissions, understanding that we're not going to reduce them to zero.
Yeah.
It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But we need to reduce them first, and as a secondary effort, we should be helping other organizations that are removing carbon from the atmosphere. Planting a tree does remove carbon, but it takes a long time because the baby trees don't consume much carbon until they get larger and they can consume more carbon.
Yeah.
But to your question, like what should we be doing instead or in addition, what you're doing is great. Here's the problem. No, it's not a problem with One Tree Planted. One Tree Planted is great. There's no problems. The reality with One Tree Planted is that it does cost more than $1 to plant a tree.
Right.
And it certainly costs more than $1.
Gina's going to help you out there. Thanks.
It certainly costs more than $1 to plant a tree that survives to the point where it absorbs carbon. I don't know if you do any gardening.
I'm not good at it.
Okay, well there you go.
Doing gardening is different than like attempting.
But nobody's perfect, right? So you're never going to plant 100 trees and have 100 trees live. So
That's
you
good to
really
know.
got to look at what's the long-term sustainability of the project, what percentage of the trees that they're planting grow to a maturity. One Tree Planted is a fabulous organization, and you guys are doing the right things. And if you can make it more fun and more engaging, if you can tokenize those trees so that they're part of the ants, etc., those are the kinds of fun conversations around brand engagement that I love to help organizations or collections or individuals think about.
Yeah. And just so I understand for scale, like how bad is minting one NFT? Like what does that compare to? Is that like a 1 mile drive in a gas guzzling car? Or like how bad is it?
It varies a lot.
Okay.
If you're an ordinal, then the carbon footprint is very big because Bitcoin is proof of work. So it uses a lot of electricity. If you're doing it on Hedera Hashgraph, or if you're doing it on Polygon or XRP, the carbon footprint is quite small, even negligible. So when I integrate with shopping carts in NFT trading platforms, we sell a minimum of 1 kilogram of carbon offsets, which costs 2.5 cents. And that is substantially more than the electricity associated with transacting, minting, transferring an NFT. So you're actually making all of those activities carbon negative, which is good.
Interesting.
And that's what I recommend that you guys do is every time one of the ants changes hands, Rebel Ants should increase its portfolio of carbon offsets by 1 kilogram, 2 cents, and you can watch that go up, and you can see the impact that your community is having based on the activities that you do.
And if somebody wanted to say, I want to do what you're saying, what's the easiest way for them to do that? Do they work with a company and say, can you attach some sort of cost to this automatically, or is it a manual process for me that I need to go track these things as they're moving?
So if you're an organization or collection, I would work with you to integrate this kind of solution automatically into all the transactions.
I see.
That's one way. As an individual, you can go to One Tree Planted. I don't want to not promote them because they're fabulous. You can go to One Tree Planted. I also operate an organization called Stand for Trees. Standfortrees.org, where you can buy carbon offsets. These are certified carbon offsets that are super high quality from carbon forestry projects in Southeast Asia, Africa, Latin America, and now in the United States. We're doing urban forest restoration in the United States as well. So you can get involved with that community also.
And how do you know if what you're doing is having a positive impact? Like, of course, anything is better than nothing, but how do you know that we're getting ahead of all the harm that's being done through more projects launching, through more blockchains coming on? Like, how do you know, okay, we're actually making progress here?
So I think it's very difficult to look at the Web3 industry writ large and determine an answer for that. I would say, however, I have never seen an industry, first of all, nobody has seen an industry explode so quickly. Right? But I've also never seen an industry that's gotten so much negative press about electricity use, and I've also never seen an industry that has worked so hard, so fast to address sustainability. So you look at these layer one chains, Polygon, Avalanche, all of them, XRP, except for Bitcoin. Every single one of these layer ones has worked very hard to measure their carbon footprint, to have a positive impact, to look for ways to use green electricity to power their servers, etc. The Web3 community has done a great job. Who's out there beating the drum against gas-powered cars?
That's what I was
Who's out
thinking.
there beating the drum against air conditioners? The way that this community has gotten negative press. When I look at the World Wildlife Fund getting raked over the coals for raising money to save forests using NFTs, it is so disingenuous. These are companies that are doing something. Those people that want to do the coal raking, they should go rake the fossil fuel industry. And they should, think about the fact that there's lots of people out there raising money to save animals and save forests using paper. Shipping paper through the post office, printing, cutting down trees to print. So there's a huge amount of disingenuous negative press.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I think a lot of those initiatives by these blockchain companies it's probably more visible than what other corporations are just saying they're doing, right?
Right.
And I think that deserves more of an applause than the negativity that you're referencing. Because
Well, let's talk about something else. What is the carbon footprint of the Web3 industry, of blockchain? And what's the carbon footprint of the financial industry?
Yeah, it's got to be.
You got Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan with these gigantic glass towers in downtown Manhattan charging huge rates to run all of these big computer networks that are global to move money from here to there and charge you a whole lot. The carbon footprint associated with credit cards and traditional finance is massive, but nobody's beaten down their doors.
Is that because they're silencing those people that would, or people are better off not fighting up against those big players?
I don't know why. To be fair, there are a lot of organizations that are super upset with the insurance industry, which is really just in money and investment management. Like, where does your insurance money go? It goes into portfolios. And the banking industry. I think I already mentioned that what your money does at night while you're sleeping, where you deposit it, where your money's invested, is one of the easiest things to change in your life. No detriment to you, no cost to you, to really improve your carbon footprint. So there's a lot to happen. We need to do more. We're a community that's looking at the future. We're a community of younger people. Our demographic is very young. And even if we're not, we have children, and we want a planet for them. So let's all work together to reduce the carbon footprint of Web3, but more importantly, to spread the message about all of the great things that we can do, that Rebel Ants can do, that Bored Apes can do in order to better the planet.
Yeah, I love it, man. Where can people find out more or contact you?
I'm at meta-carbon.com or Tokenizer of Carbon on Twitter and
Tokenizer of Carbon.
Telegram, and I'm on LinkedIn, Tom Herman, Metacarbon. It was great to talk with you today.
Yeah, thank you for coming back, and I really appreciate it. Very educational, and hopefully we can help do some good.
All right, let's do some good together.
All right.